Welcome today. Let's talk about conditioning. I wanted to first go over the morphology and then move on into why shampooing or why controlled temperature is important when it comes to shampooing the hair for hydration. And now let's move over into the conditioning step for kinky hair care. When it comes to conditioning the hair, for those out there who are using either one conditioner or other, and what I mean by that is rinse out conditioner, or deep conditioner, you may want to take a look at your method, because the truth of the matter is that you will need both. And I noticed that there's a lot of people that's using one over the other, and they're not exactly sure as to if they need both and why. So we're going to delve into these type of conditioners, and I'm going to explain to you why they're needed from a scientific perspective, and how to effectively use them for your hair care. One conditioner is not enough for type 4 hair. When it comes to straighter hair types, many routines use one conditioner for detangling, softening, moisturizing, and strengthening. Whereas for kinkier hair types, which is type 4 hair, we have a different morphology. The native structure of our hair is completely different. If you didn't get a chance to see that video, go back to, I want to say, episode 1 or the first video of this year that talks about the morphology and the geometry of kinky hair. So when we look at our hair under at a microscopic view, we have higher friction, we have a tighter curvature, and we have irregular cuticle overlap. So that structural feature means that detangling and deep conditioning cannot happen efficiently at the same time. It would be nice to have that type of privilege to just simply throw or apply one conditioner onto the hair, and then within 1 to 5 minutes your hair has been properly conditioned, and then rinse and go on with your hair routine. But that is not feasible for our hair type. We need a little bit more care when it comes to the conditioning step. And yes, this applies to every single time you wash your hair. It is not an option. It is required according to the geometry and the morphology of our hair. When I first started in the industry, I think I was in personal care industry, and I had met a lady who I now see as my colleague. And she was working for a major personal care company, and she was one of the lead formulation scientists at this company that was working on a black hair product. And I'm new in the industry, and she was explaining to me why we could not use 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioners. The way they're marketed, you would think that it's for everybody's hair, but the truth of the matter is that our hair type needs a higher controlled temperature over a longer period of time to effectively condition our hair and to move those cationic surfactants from the cuticle layer into the cortex. So you can't really achieve that or accomplish that in the shower. And it would be nice, but that's not a possibility for us. So she explained, she said, well, the temperature needs to be up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit for the cationic polymers to bind to our hair strands. And that's not feasible in the shower. So that 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner system is not formulated for a hair type, and I didn't know that. But with that being said, most of that information is not put out to the public. I think most scientists understand that, who are specifically working in personal care that is focused on afro textured hair, but that has yet to be communicated to the natural hair community that I see that's happening right now. So I just wanted to relay that information out to everyone, that conditioning your hair in the shower that takes 1 to 5 minutes, where you apply it and you go ahead and finish out your shower routine and then rinse, that's not going to be effective enough for your hair type. Okay, you will need both conditioners, which is rinse conditioner and a deep conditioner, every single time that you wash. What's the difference between the rinse conditioners and the deep conditioners? Rinse conditioners offer or provide surface lubrication. They also provide detangling and friction reduction, cuticle alignment, and short residence time. They are simply there to detangle your hair. They are there for to reduce the friction while you comb out your hair after shampooing. It is not there to deep condition your hair. Okay, so you want to use rinse conditioners as a tool that will lead you to the deep conditioning step, but it is not a one-all and be-all when it comes to conditioning kinky hair. Okay, deep conditioners, once you finish your rinse, you apply your rinse conditioner and you detangle your hair and you rinse it out, you apply your deep conditioner, okay? The deep conditioner The purpose of it is that it will interact with the cuticle and it will perform internal diffusion of water and small mobile formulated design molecules that can move with water into the fiber cortex during deep conditioning. The whole purpose of deep conditioning is that all of the formulated design of that conditioner is to bind to or adhere to the outer surface and inner surface of your hair strand. We're talking about hair fiber science here that needs to be considered when it comes to conditioning kinky hair. And that's in order for that diffusion process to happen, it's going to take longer than 5 minutes. Anywhere from 10 minutes up to 30 minutes, that process will happen. And we're going to look into what type of diffusion this is, and we'll get a chance to look at some diagrams to get a better understanding at the type of internal diffusion that happens. Remember what I said with the water, with the small mobile molecules, which are polar, and they're formulated specifically to move inside of the hair, be deposited onto the cuticle, and move inside the hair into the cortex. And just to add, this is why one conditioner cannot optimally do both jobs. It's not going to be able to detangle and deep condition your hair. A lot of times for those who are deep conditioning the hair, what they'll do is that they apply, and I've seen this on several videos, they'll apply the deep conditioner and then they'll start to detangle the hair. It's not formulated with certain molecules like polyquats that's going to aid in the detangling of very coily, kinky hair. So you need to have both when it comes to the conditioning step. One shampoo, which should be your moisturizing shampoo, used on a regular basis, but then a rinse out conditioner followed by a deep conditioner. What a rinse conditioner actually does, it's going to provide immediate slip once you apply it to your hair. It will neutralize the negative charge on the hair surface that was generated during the shampoo cycle. So when you wash your hair, you have surfactants that were formulated for the shampoo, and that's going to produce a negative charge on the surface of the hair. The conditioner has cationic surfactants, and that's going to neutralize that negative charge that's been produced. All right. And it's also going to reduce the combing force and reduce the mechanical damage that you would experience if you were to try to detangle your hair without applying conditioner. This is why I don't recommend, or I'm highly against detangling hair during the shampoo. It's not formulated to detangle hair. Yes, you can add some detangling. You can have a formulated design that allows detangling to occur. However, I would not use the shampooing step. I would not put a bunch of shampoo on my hair and then immediately start detangling during the shampoo. If anything, when you detangle, you want a finger detangle, but combing, brushing during the shampoo should not be recommended. It really should be done during the detangling process when you add the rinse conditioner, because that is the ultimate purpose of a rinse conditioner. Rinse conditioners contain cationic surfactants, which are positively charged molecules, and they also contain quaternary ammonium compounds. These bind electrostatically to the negatively charged cuticle. Okay, so your result will be that the cuticle lays flatter, the fibers slide past each other, which you want, right? Because the friction is actually being reduced, and the detangling happens with less force. So ultimately, the rinse conditioner is protecting the hair from you while you detangle. It's actually not there to deep condition the hair. Just to reiterate, the key takeaway from this is that the rinse conditioner protects the hair from you during detangling. Okay? When you're detangling your hair, please be gentle. Yes, the conditioner has been formulated to help with the detangling process, or to guide the detangling process. However, you still need to show a little bit of restraint when it comes to the detangling, because the last thing you want to do is aid in the breakage of your hair while you're trying to move on to the next step, which would be deep conditioning. Why should you detangle before deep conditioning? And we're going to look at these three issues. What happens if you skip this step? Okay, and then we'll look into what deep conditioners are, and if the deep conditioner is applied to tangled hair, what happens? Okay, so what happens if you skip this step? You end up with knots, and those knots trap the conditioner unevenly, which doesn't allow for the conditioning step to happen consistently throughout your entire head of hair. All right, the product ends up sitting on the outside of the tangled hair, and you end up with mechanical stress because it's at different points, right? Because the conditioner was applied unevenly over the knots, and that mechanical stress will increase during manipulation. So you want to make sure that your hair is fully detangled prior to applying the deep conditioner. The deep conditioner is heavier, it is slower to diffuse because you have internal diffusion that will be happening with heat, with water, and with the protein in your hair, the alpha keratin protein that will be swelling, allowing that internal diffusion of cationic surfactants and other polymers and other small molecules to move across the hair strand. So it's slower to diffuse, which means that it's slower to work. You cannot have this happen within 5 minutes. And it is designed for time plus heat plus water, because your hair will be wet, and that will aid in the conditioning of the hair. If the deep conditioning is applied to tangled hair, diffusion of the formulated design conditioning agents are blocked. And you're going to end up wasting your time deep conditioning, carrying out the deep conditioning process without anything working effectively or being efficient. The penetration ends up being inconsistent, and you end up, as a result, damaged due to friction that is continuing underneath the hair that has not been exposed to the conditioner. So the last thing you want to do is to leave your hair tangled and skip the rinse out conditioner by moving from the shampoo step over to the deep conditioning without the detangling, and then assuming that all of your hair strands have been properly deep conditioned. The goal here is to use rinse conditioners as a tool that will lead you to the deep conditioning step in order for your hair to now be properly conditioned after it's been properly hydrated. The key takeaway from this is that deep conditioner is not a detangler. It works best on hair that has already been aligned, and it is of low friction. So don't skip one step and try to move a little bit faster, I'm going to go from step 1 up to step 3. The ultimate goal on wash day is to hydrate your hair during the shampoo, detangle your hair so that you don't have knots and you can have the conditioner applied effectively. Add conditioning agents on the outer surface and inner surface of your hair. Then you want to go ahead and style your hair, whether that's blow drying or that's wet styling, and allow it to air dry or sit on a dryer. But you also want to seal your hair, because if you follow these 3 steps, which is hydration, conditioning, and sealing, in the proper way, you will have healthier hair for a longer period of time over the weeks, or hydrated, conditioned hair over several days up until the next wash cycle. So if you wash your hair on a Saturday, go ahead, shampoo properly in the controlled temperatures, detangle your hair, deep condition your hair, rinse, then seal your hair, add a leave-in conditioner and seal, then go ahead and style your hair, and that should allow you to go up to 5 to 7 days, maximum 10 days, without having to wash again.